Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to 8 Ball Sports here, bringing you another post-game analysis for Week 3 of college football. As I mentioned in every video, I do this because I love the sport of college football, and I try to keep it as unbiased as possible. So if you enjoy, please hit that thumbs up button, and please subscribe to the channel. So Vanderbilt improves to 3-0. Wow, Kansas State drops to 2-1. A big win for Vanderbilt and a big win for Derek Mason. I think there's a lot of things to take away about the future of this season for both these teams as a result of this game, and we'll get more into that later, but let's hop into the stats. I said hop in, but let's just go into the stats like I like to. And for Kansas State, your entire offense was Jesse Ertz. 24 carries, 126 yards, and a touchdown, and then 10 for 28 passing, 76 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Also, personally, I feel like it was all Jesse Ertz and that he had a solid game, but I don't think it had to be. You only ran with like your two primary running backs in Alex Barnes and Justin Silman 11 times. And I get that they weren't having great success. Barnes 8 carries for 34 yards. That's over 4 yards a carry. Justin Silman 3 carries for 41 yards. I didn't understand, and I know maybe it's partially because that's the type of offense you guys run. You guys as in Kansas State. But Jesse Ertz ran the ball 24 times. That's double how many their primary running backs ran. Receiving, obviously, when you only pass for 76 yards, not much is going to happen. Isaiah Zuber and Byron Pringle combined for about, well, I'm not going to say about, I'm going to figure out the math here, 62 yards receiving and 7 catches. 7 out of 10 catches and, almost 62 out of 76 yards. So they were the main targets. There were a few other ones, and they were over one kicking. That is Kansas State. And then for Vanderbilt, Ralph Webb, a rough day for him on the ground. And I think that is partially Vanderbilt's offensive line, partially Ralph Webb, maybe not being able to find the holes, maybe not making the right cuts. And then also Kansas State's defense is really solid. They're a pretty good defense, and they showed that today as they held a Vanderbilt offense that had been rolling. I know against two lackluster teams, but that had been rolling. Two lackluster offenses in mid-Tennessee State, and I don't even know, I think they played like Alabama State or something last week. But Kyle Shermer had looked really good. I don't think he had a turnover coming into this game. And Kansas State's defense held Vanderbilt's offense in check. Ralph Webb, again, mentioned it. Rough day, 21 carries, 46 yards. Sam Dobbs had a 10-yard carry. That's the only other runner I wrote down. Shermer did have a rushing touchdown. Shermer had a passing and rushing touchdown. Shermer protected the ball well. He did have that fumble that was the score. But other than that, I think it was a pretty solid day. 14 to 23 passing, 205 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, a lot of it went to Trent Sherfield, 4 catches, 97 yards, no touchdown. And then C.J. Duncan, 6 catches, 52 yards, a touchdown. Jared Pinky, 2 catches, 41 yards. So not a bad day. I think Kyle Shermer is a better quarterback than a lot of people give him credit for. A rough year last year. And I'm sorry, I'm turning on my brightness so I can see myself. But sorry if the camera was shaking. But a rough year last year, still trying to figure out his identity, I guess you could say. But I think he's really found it this year, and he's proven to a lot of people, at least he's proven to me that he is a good quarterback that can win games for Vanderbilt. Not keep them in games, but win them. This was a boring game, though, if you watched it. And even if you're a Kansas State-Vanderbilt game, I understand there's a defensive game, and in the Big Ten, as you can see, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but I'm an Ohio State fan. And in the Big Ten, there's a lot of games like this where we rely on our defenses. The SEC, there's a lot of games like that. Alabama would love if it's just a 7-0 game where their defense stops them. But for us fans, obviously that's kind of the more boring games, is where it's 15 punts. Kansas State was 4 for 16 on third downs. Vanderbilt was 3 for 13. Or 4 for 13, excuse me. Penalties, Kansas State, 7 penalties, 68 yards. Vandy, 5 penalties, 50 yards. That's about what you'd expect. That's about the average. So, didn't cost them the game, I wouldn't say. A nice effort by Jesse Ertz in that last play of the game, but it just wasn't enough. And, I don't know. I feel like he doesn't trust his receivers. As an Ohio State fan, I love J.T. Barrett. I am not one of those people, not one of those fans that thinks he should be benched or anything like that. I mean, he's the Big Ten all-time touchdown leader. But I don't think he trusts his receivers. He trusted Devin Smith. He trusted, if you don't know these people, I'm sorry, but Michael Thomas, Braxton Miller, Jalen Marshall. We have a bunch of new faces. Kansas State may not have new faces, but I think Jesse Ertz doesn't trust his receivers because 10 for 28, that's 18 incompletions, obviously, just simple math. But I don't know. He did miss some throws. I don't know. I felt like there were opportunities where he could have gotten a bigger gain, but he didn't trust his receiver to catch it, so he took the 4 yards running instead of the 8 yards with a throw and catch. That's at least how I feel. And in that last situation, I feel like he, in the back of his mind, was like, the only way we're going to be able to get this first down is if I run, because that's all we've been able to do today. All we've had success in is me running, so I'm going to run this ball, and I'm just going to buy myself time. Not to say he wasn't looking for a pass. I don't know what's going on in his mind, but to me it looked like from the very get-go, because he had a drag route running across the middle that was open. Now, there was a defender behind him, but that's one of the situations you have to trust your receiver to either, kind of go through that tackle or, avoid the tackle, I guess. And he just, he was rolling out, and then he made some jukes, relied on, his blockers. The last play, great job by the Kansas State offensive line. They were running around, picking up blocks everywhere, and he almost got it. But, yeah, Vandy 3-0 for the first time since 2011. I think Derek Mason has his program headed in the correct direction, or the right direction, I guess you would say. I like Vanderbilt in the SEC East. If I had to choose a team, it'd be Georgia. I think Georgia's probably going to win the SEC East. I think Florida still has a good chance. They beat Tennessee today. If you haven't seen that post-game analysis, be sure to go check that one out. But they beat Tennessee today, a big win in the SEC conference, obviously, especially on your side in the SEC East. But I think in Georgia, and I think Vanderbilt can play with Georgia. I think Vanderbilt can play with Florida, and I think Vanderbilt will win one of those games. I think Vanderbilt has a chance of being ranked this next week. I said Mississippi State has a chance. I think Vanderbilt has a chance of being ranked as well. A lot of these SEC teams that we kind of expected to just be mid-tier are looking like they could be at the top of their divisions. I said Mississippi State could be their second best team in the SEC West, and I think Vanderbilt could be a top 3 team in the SEC East, while Tennessee may fall to the bottom half of the SEC East. And a team like LSU may fall to the bottom half of the SEC West. So a lot of things that could happen with the conference, and that was the last thing I think I was going to talk about. There was some interesting calls, a lot of penalties, I think there's a punt return called back, some key flags and just some key calls in some situations. Not that the calls were necessarily wrong, just it seemed like any time a team was going to have in a big play, always something happened that made that play come back. By the way, when I said that they had that scoop and score, it was called back. I don't think I said that, but Jesse Ertz had the rushing touchdown. That was their only touchdown. That one, I thought that was a fumble. Personally. I did not see his knee down. But, I don't know. It was a close play, but I think that's when you stay with the call on the field. But, I don't know. What do I know? I guess you could say. Anyway, yeah, I think Vanderbilt is going to get overlooked, or was getting overlooked. This game will let people know that they are a real competitor in the SEC this year. And I think they could pull off a big upset. I'm not going to say they're going to be Bama. I would say watch out Florida. Watch out Georgia. I don't even know if I count Tennessee as an upset anymore, but watch out Tennessee. I think they will beat 2 out of 4 of those teams. I think they're going to beat Tennessee. So sorry, Tennessee fans, but I think they are I think they're the better team. At least right now, from what I've seen from the first 3 weeks. And then I think they could beat Florida or Georgia. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up. It's a pretty short post-game analysis, but it's a pretty boring game. 14-7. Kansas State will probably go unranked as well. I don't see them staying in the top 25. Maybe at like the 24th, 25th spot, but I don't see it. I have 2 more post-game analysis videos coming out, so subscribe to the channel so you won't miss those. Leave a comment down if you think Vanderbilt can win the SEC East, or if you think another team will win. If you think Georgia will win, give me your reasoning why down in the comment section below. and I'll see you guys later.